In this video we're going to look at how to sketch cubic equations. So in order to sketch a cubic, ideally we want it so it's factorised, and I want to find the points of intersection with either axis. So to find the points of intersection with the x-axis, then I know that y is 0. So for y to be 0, then either this bracket is 0, so x is 1, or this bracket is 0, so x is negative 2, or this bracket is 0 and x is negative 3. And to find the intersection with the y-axis, I know that x is equal to 0, so y is 0, subtract 1, multiplied by 0, add 2, multiplied by 0, add 3. So that's negative 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 is negative 6. So I can then have a set of axes, and I can mark on where these intercepts are going to be. So y is negative 6, x is 1, is negative 2, and is negative 3. And the final piece of information I need is the direction this curve is going to take. Now actually using negative 6 gives me an indication about this, but if I multiply the three x terms from each bracket, I get x cubed rather than a negative x cubed, and that tells me my function is going to begin as an increasing function. So it's going to come up, it's going to pass through negative 3, it's going to pass through negative 2, and then it's going to pass through the y-axis at negative 6 and the x-axis at 1. So I'm going to just check if I've got my key features right. Does it intersect in the correct places on the x-axis? Does it intersect at the correct point on the y-axis? And it does. So this second example, we're going to look at much the same thing. I am going to look that I'm going to have x is 1 and x is negative 3 as my key features, and y is going to be where x is 0, so it's going to intersect. So 1 subtract 0 is 1, 3 add 0 is 3, square that is 9, multiply it by the 1 gives me 9. So I'm going to do my set of axes. So it's going to intersect at 9, and it's going to cross at negative 3 and at 1. And if I multiply the x terms, so negative x multiplied by x squared, because x will be in both, this bracket will appear twice if I write it out in full. So that tells me that it's going to be negative x cubed, and so it's going to start as a decreasing function. The other thing that's key here is that this bracket is squared, which tells me that at this point, so at x equals negative 3, it just touches the axis, it doesn't actually cross. So my function is going to start decreasing, and then it's going to increase, it's going to come down through at 9 and at 1. Third example is much the same again, so that should be y equals that. So at x equals 2 and at x equals negative 1 are going to be my key points on my x-axis, and y is equal to 2 minus 0 squared multiplied by 0 plus 1, so that will be 4, and then I can do my set of axes. So it's going to cross the y-axis at 4, and my key features on my x-axis here are negative 1 and 2, and this bracket is squared, so it's just going to touch the axis at 2, and I've got my negative x, but that's squared, so that will give me x squared multiplied by the x from this bracket gives me x cubed, so it is actually going to be positive. So it's going to start as an increasing function. So it's going to pass up through negative 1, through 4, down to negative 2, but only touch at negative 2, and then it's going to move up.